Okay, so yesterday we have seen the continue control statement. So before continue, we have seen the break. Break, that means break the loop. Continue, that means continue the loop. So we can use inside the for loop continue. Wherever we will use continue, directly command goes to here control statements, and it will directly do increment or whatever the part here, and then it coming to the condition checking part, then it will execute like this way. So continue, then after whatever the after the continue, it will not work. Continue, then after we have seen the return statement. So return, you will understood after the functions. So return is useful for returning from the functions. So whenever we will use return, so it will returning from the function immediately. So there is two type, control return and value return. So it will directly goes control to the whatever the function called that function. Otherwise value will return whatever the value will return inside that. So that will be return. So we will understood this value return in and control return much more in the functions chapter. So return, that meaning is return is useful for returning from the function. This is most important. Return is useful for returning from the function. Break is useful for returning from the loop. Okay, then we have seen the comma operator. So comma operator is binary operator. We are using comma operator as an operator and separator. So here my I is equal to 10, j is equal to 20, k is equal to 30. This is separator. So I is separate, j is separate, and k is separate. Suppose I will do I is equal to 10, 20. So here it will be the operator. So without parenthesis, directly I will become 10. If I will put parenthesis, so rightmost has the highest priority. So it will 20 will be the store into the I. So yesterday's class we have seen already this all the things. Today is the most important topic, pointer. So we have a data types is two types. One is the primary data type and another one is the secondary data type. So primary data type is our integer, character, float, double, like this. All are we have seen. All are the primary data types. Secondary data type, that is the pointer, array, structure, union, enum, type def. We will see all the things. So these all are the secondary data type. So secondary data type is the user defined data type. We will use as per our use case. So primary data type and secondary data type. Secondary data type are derived from primary data type. So whenever we will use secondary data type, at that time we have to take help of the primary data type like this way. So we have to use primary data type also at that time, but secondary data type are derived from primary data type. Okay, write down this, then we will start pointer. So definition of pointer. Pointer is a one of the secondary data type which is useful for storing the address of another data type, through which you can access the data indirectly. So pointer is one of the secondary data type which is useful for storing the address of another data type, through which you can access the data indirectly. So what is exactly pointer is useful for? Storing the address of another data type, through which you can access the data indirectly. So these 2 points are most important. This is the use case of pointer. Pointer is storing the address of another data type and is through which you can access the data indirectly. So for example, here I will write integer I is equal to 10, j is equal to 20, k is equal to 30. So inside the memory they have some addresses. So pointer will point to suppose any of the addresses. So for example, I will write here address of I, address of j, and address of k. This is for example. So you can store any of the data. Suppose I have stored I data, suppose I have stored j, or suppose I have stored address of k. So pointer is storing the address of another data type. This is the most important. So pointer have stored the address of this data type. So address is this one. So I got address, so I can access the data indirectly. So I can read data or write data. So instead of 10, I will write there 100. Using pointer, we can modify data also. So we will see this all part. So pointer is accessing the address, and using address indirectly it will write down at particular location different data, read data from there. Okay, so we will see in example, then you will understood. So this is most important in interview or any time anyone will ask why we use pointer. So what is the use case of pointer? Pointer is storing the data, sorry, storing the address, and through which you can access the data indirectly. Here the meaning of another data type, that doesn't mean it is an integer or character or like this way. So the I is integer, j is also integer, so pointer is taking the data of this one or this one or this one, anyone. Then where we can use pointer? So there is most important use case is call by reference in function. There is the one concept is the dynamic memory allocation. We will see all the concept. File handling, data structure. So where we are using the array also, and many other use case also. This is the common use case: call by reference, dynamic memory allocation, file handling, and data structure. These are the common use case for the pointer. So there is many other use case also. There you can use pointer. Next is the syntax. First is the data type, then star, then variable name. Data type is the integer, character, float, double, anything. For example, I will write integer star, then my variable name is, I will take IP, that means integer pointer short form. This is for example. Here you can take any name. Variable name should be as you can use any name. So what is the this meaning is, star is useful for the pointer. So what is the syntax of pointer? Data type star variable name. Here in example I have written integer star IP. So IP is my variable name, star is, that means is the type of pointer, and this is the integer. If I will not use star, then this is my normal variable integer IP. Once I will use the star, that this is called integer pointer. Suppose I will use character, then star, then I will use CP. Then this is called character pointer. Suppose I will use float, then star FP. This is my float pointer. Once I will write integer I, character ch. These are the normal we have used till now, float f. So at that time, compiler can store one value. So compiler will store value. So whenever I will do integer I, then I is equal to 10. Then 10 value will store inside the I variable. So inside the memory, there is one memory space is available. Suppose the location is 1000. There is I. Once we will do I is equal to 10, at that particular memory location, our 10 data will store. Similar way, suppose I have written character ch, and character ch is 1 byte data, integer I is 4 byte data. So suppose these all are in the contiguous location. So 1000 plus 4, so character ch location should be 1004, and 1004, whatever the data inside the character ch, that is the suppose small a data, it will store. So once we will do ch is equal to a, so a will be stored in the ch, and ch location is 1004. Then after float is stored in continuous location, so this location should be 1005. Then float data will be stored. Suppose f is equal to 10.5 I have stored. So 10.5 will store into the f, and f location is 1005. So 10.5 will be stored. So using this type, what compiler is store? Value. Using integer star IP, characters are star ch, float star fp, or here I will use cp or ch or anything, float star fp. Here, compiler can store address, not value. Then I will move to VS Code and we will see example. Okay. So how to access the data indirectly through pointer? Give this is the title. How to access data indirectly through pointer. So I will write here integer I is equal to 10, j is equal to 20, k is equal to 30, and one pointer star p. Okay, so this part, whenever you have to use pointer, so you have to write before your variable name star. So this is my integer star p. So star is the mandatory for pointer. This is my variable name. Then after what I will do, I will store the address of I in the pointer p. So here you have to write p is equal to address of I. Here it will storing the address of I to pointer p. Then after I will write printf I is equal to percentage d, j is equal to percentage d, k is equal to percentage d, and star p is equal to percentage d. I comma j comma k comma star p. So here star p, that means this is my initialization part. So whenever you will write integer star p, so my pointer will initialize. So what happen inside the memory? This for all these things. So for I, suppose is 1000 location. For j, suppose is 1004 location. 20 data is stored. For k, suppose is 1008 location is stored and 30 data is stored. For star p, there is also one 4 byte of data will make memory. So that location should be 1012. For example, I am taking that should be anything. So these all are the for example addresses, and here my star p. Whenever we will do p is equal to address of I. So my pointer is pointing to the address of I. So whatever the address of I will store inside this. So using p is equal to address of I. So here most important things, you cannot write star p. Star p, that means we can able to access the data whatever the address is stored. So what is exactly p and what is exactly star p? So p is equal to address of I. That means p that will access the address of I. Star p, that means whatever the data inside that address that we can access. So this is like box, inside box, inside box. So P, that means it stored the address of I. So this is the next box. And star P, that is the inside whatever the data of that 10 that we are accessing inside the address of I. So using pointer, we can able to access data indirectly. So here, suppose I will do P is equal to address of J. So we can store any variable's address. Suppose I have stored the address of variable j. So what is the address of variable j? 1004. So 1004 will store inside my pointer. So I have to access the data of j. At that time I will use star p. So star p, that means whatever the data is stored inside the this. So it will directly taking that data and it will print.
So what
So
happens to the previous location? I mean to say that, so what happens to the value of I if we try to declare it
it
using
will
J?
nothing will happen. So see, in your memory or anything in real life, suppose you have used one shareable access. This is for example.
Hmm.
So shareable Excel file, suppose. Okay. Or I have sharing the data to each one of you in Google Drive. Okay. So this is my common place. So see here, this is my Google Drive. This is for example. So I am uploading the data there. So you all are reading data from there, right? Using different your mobile phones.
Hmm.
So Google Drive data is commonplace. This is my I variable C. And your mobile is accessing data indirectly from my location. This is not directly you are accessing. Directly only I am able to access my data. So I am sharing you data. That means Google Drive is giving you link. Link that means that address is giving to you. So you are able to access that data, but you cannot able to modify or you cannot do anything there because I have given you only read only access. So nothing will happen to I. Only we are accessing the data indirectly, whatever the available at that location. Okay, one more example I will give you. So here nothing will happen to I or J or K or anyone else. We have to access data whatever available at the ith location without informing to I. Indirectly we have to use that data. So how we will use, we will find whatever the address of that and we will take data from there and we will use that data. So that means we will copy our data into the this location. So pointer is useful for storing the address and access the data indirectly. So once we will do much more examples, then you will understood better. Use case of pointer is the access the address and access the data indirectly. First we have to store the address. So how we will store the address? So here P is equal to address of I. This line meaning is the address of I is storing inside the P.
So P is equal to 1000, right?
This
Address.
is for example. Whatever
Yeah.
the address of I
Hmm.
that will be stored inside the P.
So the pointer, when we print, the pointer value will be star pointer. So
Yes,
star P value will be the whatever data stored in the I.
exactly. So see my star P value is also 10 here. So now I will do star P is equal to 100. Now what is the output here? What will be my I value, what will be my J value, what will be my K value, and what will be my star P value?
Star P will be 100.
hmm What will be the K value is 30 and J value is 20. What will be the I value? Once you will give someone else to read and write both access.
So it is 100.
Yes.
Mm. Okay.
How? So what is the use case of pointer?
Yeah, to take address first, it will store address of. It will take data from that address.
So use case of pointer is we have to storing the address of any variables
Yeah,
first.
first one P star P.
Mhm. So star P is the initialization. P is equal to
Mm.
address of I. This is our first point.
Yes.
So that means we have to store the address of any variable. So I have stored the address of I. This is my P and I have stored the address of I.
Mm.
Now I have to access the data of whatever the available of that address. So ith address. My address is 1000, 1000 location, whatever the data available. So for that I will use star P. Okay. So P that means pointer is storing the address of I. Star P that means we can access the data whatever the address is stored inside the pointer. So whatever the address of
10.
I, so data is 10. So we have access here, data is 10. So star P, I have direct access to that location. So here I get 10. Here I am doing star P is equal to 100. Star P that means whatever the address is stored, that data I have to modify. So pointer is indirectly modifying the data using address. So star P I am doing the 100. So indirectly my data at that location is modified to 100. Now I will access I. At that time I get 100. Okay. Then I will run this code. So using pointer you can read and write both. So I is 10, J is 20, K is 30, star P is 10, I is 10, J is 20, K is 30, star P is equal to 100. Here my I value is 100. So pointer can modify location also. So here, so pointer is useful for the storing the address and accessing the data indirectly. So whenever you will use P, at that time you have to store the address of I. Here you cannot able to store star P is equal to address of I. If you will use this star P is equal to address of I, so what is the use case of star P? P that means this is the 1000 location. Suppose and my I is the 1004 location, suppose. So P, that means I will store the address of I. Suppose I will do star P. Star P is useful for the accessing the data whatever the address is stored. So this syntax is not correct. Star P, this will be used when we use double pointer inside the pointer. We will move to that concept. At that time you will use star P is equal to address of I, and like this way. Pointer inside the pointer and all things. So we will move to that concept later in this course.
Okay.
And one more thing, here you can store the value of address of the variable and the address if you know directly address. Suppose this is for the embedded system person. Suppose you know already the address of your variable, or where you have to write data and where you have to read data in your memory. Suppose you know already the address. At that time you can directly store P is equal to 1000. So if you know directly address, then you can directly store address. So here inside the pointer you can store any address. If you know address, then you can store directly address. If you don't know the address, then you have to store the variable of that address. Okay, that's it for today.